back, everybody. Welcome back to another glorious episode of Radio Rocketman. Together with me, I have the one, the only bringer of hurricanes and news, George. Hello.
Hello, Luigi. Hello. I have brought the hurricane
And the thunder.
and the thunder. How are you? How are you this week?
Very well, very well. It's been another solid week. Lots of news to report. We had a Republican debate, I understand.
We've had another stupid debate, it's true. Possibly the stupidest of them all.
Pointless, stupid debates, we should add,
Yeah.
because the man leading the great orange menace, the Donny himself, has never appeared and doesn't intend to.
Now he won. And then we have a boatload of bad news, Luigi. Exceptionally bad news. I'm not in the mood because the news are so fucking vile. We didn't cover the ceasefire. That was took about how long did it last?
A week.
Less than less than a week, I think. And
A humanitarian pause, if I ever seen one.
yes, the briefest of pauses achieved, but then with the devastation has resumed to easily the scale that it was before, possibly even worse. There has been no moderation in approach by Israel whatsoever, despite, I would say, multiple pleas by even their closest allies at this point, even the United States. But then we had yesterday, we had the resolution brought by the UAE in the Security Council, an attempt to call for another ceasefire. And tragically, Luigi, should we get to that immediately? And then tragically, the US has defied appeals to back the resolution for urgent Gaza ceasefire in a shameful vote, I would say. One of the most
Surprised.
One of the most shameful
shocked.
votes that the US has made in a while now, which will have reverberations around the world. I'm sure they know. I'm sure they give zero shits.
Negative. They give negative facts at this point.
Defied appeals from Arab allies and the UN. Guterres himself, Luigi. Saint Antonio walked out of his office, invoked archaic processes rarely used
Article, what was it, 9?
Article 11,090, Order 66, attempted to fucking get the US to be a bit more humanitarian, vote for a ceasefire.
99, Article 99.
Yeah. Spoke to the Security Council members, attempted to persuade them that they needed a ceasefire, that this was a catastrophe of unbelievable proportions that would jeopardize world peace. Whatever, the Palestinian Authority person spoke, everybody tried, but the US unconvinced. They vetoed it. Fucking disgusting, I'm not gonna lie, Luigi.
So, Article 99 basically says that the Secretary General, Guterres, may bring to the attention of the Security Council any matter which, in his opinion, may threaten the maintenance of international peace and security.
Yeah.
So we completely ignored that. Because
because the deputy U.S. ambassador, of course, with instructions from the White House, the whole security state, said the U.S. would not give up its aim of removing Hamas. Hummus has to be eliminated. Explaining America wanted to break the cycle of that's some bullshit. So that history, they want to break this. Luigi, let me make it simple.
Translate it for us.
Let me translate it for the buffoons among us. They want to break the cycle of violence with
more violence.
Exactly. It's a brilliant plan. It's almost as good as what was Bush's plan to plant the seeds of democracy. We're going to use fucking bombs everywhere. Yeah, it's a brilliant.
I like how it's always sex metaphors. Let me plant my seeds.
By the way, we've got the return of the seeds, just like I just mentioned a second ago. When the seeds feature in rhetoric, you know you're in for a good time. Because Hamas has no desire to see a durable peace. Question for my American friends: does Israel want a durable peace with an equitable Palestinian state? Because I'm not getting those vibes. by a country that is to this day illegally annexing land from Palestinians. I'm not getting the durable peace vibes, Luigi. And the obsessive focus on hummus. By the way, I mean, and it's only my opinion, but I mean, you can't eliminate a resistance movement by people in a concentration camp and an open air prison. There's gonna be more Hamas. The more you fucking traumatically ruin the lives of these people, they will violently resist. It's not as easy. I mean, the only way to eliminate Hamas is to eliminate every Palestinian in Gaza, basically.
Which, I mean,
Hamas is simply one form of violent resistance at this point in time by an oppressed population.
Of course, it's a reaction to
reaction
decades.
And more of an idea than fucking. It's like Batman, people. How the fuck do you want to like? We're getting cancelled this episode.
We are.
I don't give a shit, Luigi. I mean, this is cancelled because fuck them, and fuck them triple times.
Dude. Look, I'm getting the sense more and more as we go deeper into this conflict that the end game is effectively to demolish all of Gaza. So
ethnically cleanse Gaza,
or displace, or ethnically displace.
That's what it means. That's what it means. To eliminate it, how we call it, the racial demographic of the ethnic demographic of the population by driving them out. Ethnically,
because like
you don't. Gaza, sorry, Luigi. I'm sorry. It doesn't have to be a genocide to be ethnic cleansing.
Precisely. Now, I was going to say, like, Gaza at this point, Gaza City especially, is uninhabitable. And it's not going to be, and of course, that's home to 1 million people, right? So
more than 1 million, right? 1.8 million, and 40% of the housing stock destroyed. A graveyard of destroyed fucking rubble.
Yeah. Every video you see, it's just a rubble, right? And there's no food there's no fuel left, so it's basically apocalyptic conditions. And as the video shows right here, this is the video that the IDF released.
Unbelievable, right? Because they think this makes them look good. This only makes them look good to their fascistic audience back home. Everybody else around the world is fucking horrified looking at this.
No.
And I don't blame the audience. I blame the media, as always, that has cultivated these feelings.
Yes. So back to the original point, if your goal is to ethnically displace, ethnically cleanse, ultimately, if that's the strategic goal, then I mean things are going according to plan, because the moment this ends, a good percentage of Palestinians is going to leave that place. I mean, you have to imagine, right?
It's unbelievable. It's
exactly.
I mean, I know that more than most the Palestinians would do. I imagine anything not to leave their fucking ancestral homelands that they've been that are being repeatedly encroached from them and taken from them. But even they, at one point, are going to have to be forced to move, because where the fuck are you going to live? Rubble? It's just rubble.
Obviously. Who wants to live in a dystopia? Who wants to live in living hell every few years?
A crime against humanity, unbelievable level, to an unbelievable degree. And
the unbelievable part is that it's happening in 2023. And everybody's closing their eyes and saying, whatever, they basically deserve it. That's the moral difference.
Yeah. Sorry, go.
No, I was going to say, if watching the Republicans, for example, every other sentence is Israel has a right to defend itself. Obviously, nobody said otherwise. But, by collectively punishing people and the international community not calling it out or not acting upon that.
Let's be honest. We're talking about the West, the Americans, and to a lesser degree, Europe.
Honestly, it's a disaster in the sense that it's really thrown a light on the fact that the international community has no teeth. Even if a massacre is going on, if a couple of key players are not willing to acknowledge that as a massacre,
and they're far more
act upon it.
Yeah, they're far more interested in antagonizing each other. China, Russia, the US, they're far more interested in playing games between themselves than actually doing anything about any crisis.
Yeah, so
I mean, even now, the US is just pissed that Guterres did this, and thinks that it put too much spotlight on the issue and made China and Russia look good. That's not the fucking dickheads.
seriously, I think this is one of the biggest failures in the history of the UN, and that's saying a lot
The
because we've
UN
had
has
some pretty
gone.
big failures.
The UN has been resolute against this atrocity. We have to add. They've been doing anything within their power to bring an end to this, and their
But they
power
have no
is
power.
very limited.
It's basically zero. That's what we are coming to find out. That's what the
Luigi,
average person is waking up to.
Antonio spoke to them. He
Send
spoke.
Antonio.
Saint Antonio and Robert Wood, who represented the US, said, I give zero fucks, Antonio. Get the fuck out of here. We have to break the cycle of violence by doing more violence on the Palestinians.
And we have
Only
to
then,
plant our seeds.
yeah, and we have to plant our seeds everywhere.
Our goal should not be to stop the war for today, but to stop the war forever.
That
And
sounds
his way of achieving that is through more war. That's fantastic. I mean,
And by the way, stop the war forever kind of sounds like we're going to genocide the Palestinians. Sorry, Wood. The vibes, they're not getting through.
Another fantastic piece of news. And when I say fantastic, I mean the I can't fucking believe it kind of sense. The Biden administration is pressing Congress to approve tank shells.
Yeah.
For Israel's war in Gaza. That is the headline from Reuters.
Yeah, I've read it. Inexcusable.
My
In no
question is-
universe, in no timeline is this shit excusable.
My question is, did we burn up all of our tank shells already? Like, have we shelled Gaza that much
We
that
gave
we are
them
running
to
out of
Chad
tank shells?
Zelensky.
Yeah, that too.
Chad Zelensky is using them.
Well, yeah, nobody's talking about Ukraine anymore. It's out of the spotlight, and I'm getting the increasing sense, George, that the resolve, the international community's resolve to keep sending arms and stuff, it's waning.
Yeah,
right?
The resolve seems to be waning, I'm not gonna lie. And I mean, if you want to talk quickly about Ukraine, in the US House, they haven't been able to pass that bill yet to give it funding. I think they've been discussing the running out of funds because they've used all of it. So they're running out, and Mike Johnson, is that the new House Speaker's name? The new fucking credit Republican that has recent
the hardcore evangelical.
Yeah,
we mention God every other sentence just because we are hardcore evangelicals.
He says he does support Ukraine, but we have to fund this shit individually.
By God's will.
By God's will, inshallah. But it hasn't happened, and I'm not certain it will happen at this point because, and by the way, I mean, I don't know what they're doing in the White House. I mean, Biden had been going around for ages before that, telling everyone and their fucking moms that the funding is guaranteed forever. And everybody was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Now we got same thing with, if I can go back to Israel and Gaza. I mean, I've said it, and we've heard the Republicans. The Republicans are like, you gotta level fucking Gaza, genocide them, basically. Implied, they're not gonna say the word genocide.
Yeah. There are no limits to how far we are willing to support them. Or did you see Ted Cruz the other day giving an interview and saying, I condemn, like the interviewer was Ryan Grim, a pretty solid interviewer.
I saw a little bit. Very good journalist.
They asked Ted Cruz, the great senator from Texas.
Fuck you, man.
The interviewer basically gave him a few statements from Israeli government ministers, like the far right
propaganda statements, yeah.
But not just propaganda statements. I mean, one of them basically said that one option is nuking Gaza with nuclear weapons.
Yeah. By the way, for all the people who get their panties in a twist when you say that fucking Israel is behaving genocidically, look at the statement by a fucking cabinet minister of the government of Israel. If that's not a genocidal statement, I don't know what the fuck is. Sorry, yeah.
And the funniest part is that minister got threatened with getting fired by Netanyahu But Ted Cruz was, he wasn't even willing to say, I condemn that. Like
Yeah,
he's like,
Ted,
I
Ted,
condemn nothing Israel has
Ted,
done.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ted Cruz is a genocidal freak. I
I
mean,
suspect he either has a lot of evangelical supporters in his state, or he
a
gets a
very
lot of
good
money,
assumption.
or he gets a lot of money from pro-Israeli lobbying groups, or both.
And I mean, let's be clear that possibly at this point, half the money that pro-Israeli lobby groups like AIPAC get are from far-right American right-wingers,
Evangelical.
billionaires,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
evangelical.
yeah.
It's not even by fucking Jewish people at this point.
You know what the funniest part is? Israeli lobbying groups spend a lot of money to get US politicians to support Israel. Then the US sends, 4 or 5 billion in aid to Israel, and it's basically a recycling cycle, right? So, we spend money to get the politicians to send us international aid, to send more money to the politicians, and it goes on.
Yeah, you have to be clear. I mean, yeah, even the weapons that Ukraine gets, it's just, I mean, the money that the US spends on Ukraine, a lot of it is just buying weapons from the United States.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's a win-win the way arms
yeah.
manufacturers would call
Go,
it.
Going back to Ukraine for a second, I find I'm starting to believe that basically Putin's won that war, right?
Yes,
Because
it's not that he won, but he's playing the long game and he can
yeah,
play the long game. It
he
doesn't
managed
seem.
he managed to freeze the conflict, and once the conflict is frozen and there's no back and forth, especially advances for Ukraine, it becomes much easier much harder rather for Zelensky to keep getting that international aid he's been
Yeah, yeah,
relying
yeah,
on.
and
So
and these moves, current moves in Israel, Palestine with the Palestinians, this does not fucking look good on the international scale for them, for the United States or Europe then to go around African nations demanding solidarity for fucking Ukraine. Because they're like, what the fuck do you know about solidarity? You only give a shit about Ukraine because it's in Europe.
basically, basically. Look, I think we're going to see a peace process sooner rather than later. And my original suspicion was that Trump and the Republicans needed to come back in for the US government to have a change on heart on Ukraine and
Yeah,
stop giving them arms entirely. But seeing how stale the conflict has become, I increasingly think there's a scenario where Biden pressures them to get a peace treaty before the election, so that he manages to spin that electorally as well. What do you think
have to
about
see.
that?
You have to see. It's very complicated, but we'll have to see. I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't be surprised if Biden did it, but these things, I mean, take time, especially with negotiations with Putin. So, I mean, I don't know if he can even manage it before the elections at this point.
I think they can, but Ukraine is going to have to cede a lot of ground, which is exactly what Zelensky has promised not to do. So, no, do you need a change of leadership in Ukraine for them to accept that, or will Zelensky eventually go for that anyway? Because there's no other end.
It's very complicated. Whatever we prognosticate is not what's going to happen.
Well,
Uh,
unless we prognosticate a lot of things, George, we're gonna
Unless we
cover
throw
all bases.
everything at the wall. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Zelensky will be replaced by his twin brother from Costa Rica, who will sign the peace deal, abandon half of Ukraine.
Petro Zelensky.
Petro del Castillo Zelensky.
Yeah, so should we move on?
Yeah, let me finish up on what happened with the UN vote. By the way, can you look up the number of Palestinians killed at this point? Is it 15,000? Something like
That's what I remember. How many Palestinians have died in Gaza? 17,000,
17 by the
17 and a
Hamas
half
run,
thousand.
by the Hamas run health ministry. We have to take note.
Yeah. But
I
they
mean,
keep saying that. And I mean, 1% of the population almost has been has been killed. That's
half of
not a
them
good look.
children. Half of
Half
them
of them children.
children.
Half of them
Children.
children, and like you have to, like, if you break it down that way and you say, okay, that's children, and that's women, that's non-combatant men. I think the percentage of combatants that have been killed is very minor. Perhaps
Yeah,
under 10. So I was watching an interview from an Israeli government spokesperson recently, and he said it's in the thousands. And when pressed on that, he said, my terminology was very specific. I don't want to say an exact number, but in the thousands means more than 2,000. If he says it that way, it has to be something like 2,500 by their estimations. Or three tops, which would put it at what? Like less than 20% of the total people slain. So 80%. His argument was that it's really difficult to measure how many combatants you've slain because
they all look like enemies to me. They're all terrorists.
but yeah, my God, man, like I don't know what's an acceptable number of civilian casualties. Is 5 to 1 acceptable? Is 8 to 1 acceptable? Like, what's acceptable?
They have
How
never
many?
answered that. They have never answered that. I mean, look at this, Luigi. Look at
What's
this.
the ratio? Like, am I allowed to kill one combatant per every 100 civilians? Oh, yes. Lord David Cameron, the UK's foreign
No,
joker.
this disgraced ex-Prime Minister, Lord David Cameron.
Alleged pig fucker. And I'm not even making that up.
It's alleged. It's alleged.
Alleged.
But they have very good libel laws in the UK, so I would advise you, Luigi,
Allegedly. It's allegedly.
to emphasize the allegedly.
We've said it at least 5 times,
Yes, yeah,
allegedly.
yeah. He fucks pigs.
David Cameron might or might have not fucked a pig when he was younger.
And the pig might or might have not liked it. We don't know. But David Cameron, on a visit to the US, said that Britain opposed the ceasefire. By the way, it was 13 votes for. France voted for, Vive la France. One vote against, one vote against the United States, and one vote abstained, the cowards, the UK. But said Britain opposed.
Special relationship, George.
Yeah, the special couldn't even get them to vote against. They had to abstain like
It's
cowards.
a special relationship. It's so special.
And look at his comments. If you stop now with Hamas in charge of even part of Gaza, there can never be a two-state solution. Asked if he believed that Netanyahu believed in a two-state solution, he said, fuck cares, basically. You will have to ask him that, which basically, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit, man. I'm here to say my fucking piece and drink some fucking wine. Fuck yourself.
Lord
I'm
Cameron,
Lord Cameron.
great titan of diplomacy.
Titan.
Returning political hero here
with a
to
bang, returning with a bang, with a bang. I mean, statements like this, Jesus Christ, go back to fucking pigs, David. Allegedly.
Yeah, at least you can put lipstick on a pig, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they say.
Any comments, Luigi? Any comments on the grid system? Have you heard about this?
No.
The online
Please
system design. Israel came up with a new grid system for targeted evacuation warnings in southern Gaza. Basically, and I mean, you need to scan QR codes and have online access, and that is going to give you the grid you have to run to before getting. It's like the fucking Hunger Games.
They don't have fucking internet.
They don't even have fucking bread
or electricity. I mean, what are we fucking talking about?
My man, this is fucking insane. It's really fucking rude. It's torture. It's a collective torture of a people.
Collective torture. And just, okay, how funny is it when you say, if all of the civilians have to move south, evacuate south?
Go from grade 5B21 to grade 5B234.
A few days later, you're like, move back north, and you basically destroy all of the infrastructure in the entire country as you are doing that. And I guess we should be happy that at least they're paying some consideration to the civilians, but fuck me at this point.
Fuck me. I mean, it is unbelievable what they're doing. And it's unclear how those residing in Gaza would access the map without electricity.
It's very unclear to all of us.
It's unclear. It's unclear.
Yeah, I think let's conclude with this chapter, George. It's not gonna get any better. Don't stay tuned for that. Yeah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Wow.
And I want to say, Luigi, that if anybody's interested, I saw an interview with Norman Finkelstein and Piers, good old boy Piers, Luigi, who, I mean, I'm not gonna discuss about Piers, but I just want to say that, by the way, he's doing it with Dirty Murdoch money, his new station, Talk
There
TV.
is no dirty Murdoch money.
It is all clean, purified.
Purified.
Yeah,
98% purified.
but whatever my feelings about the dirty money behind it, etc., he does get fucking damn good interviewees. Jesus Christ, he gets good people in there on his show, and I will commend him for that, for getting proper people to interview. One of them was Norman Finkelstein, and I encourage everyone to go watch that. He's been really analyzing what has been happening and chronicling what has been happening with Gaza in the past decades or so. And I thought his interview was exceptional. Let's close on that.
Yeah, let's close the subject on that.
We
And let's
wish for better news. We await better news.
but yeah, again, don't
Alas, alas, don't hold your breath. Yeah, exactly. Now,
alas, we're probably gonna get shittier news judging by the people by the people present in this
yes.
Republican debate.
And I mean, by the people involved in these shenanigans, BB the Great, and yeah, we'll see. Should
Yeah,
we go
so
to the great debate? To the great
yeah,
debate.
the
The
great pointless
fourth,
debate.
the great pointless debate, the fourth GOP of the fourth, the last Republican standing. Good to see Chris over there. Warms my heart.
How can
Uh,
you miss him?
I miss him greatly, Luigi. I've got the timestamps. I've already
Yeah,
watched it. It was quite a debate. Did you want to start immediately on the?
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
go with
Go.
the best moments.
That's an excellent point. 24:58 started there.
And punch them hard. Were you saying that it's time to bomb Iran?
No, I was not saying it's time to bomb Iran, but I will tell you, I dealt with Iran every day when I was at the United Nations, and they only respond to strength. What they don't respond to is when you weaken the sanctions like they did on Iran that allowed China to send them billions to fill their proxies. What they don't respond to is when you give $6 billion for 5 hostages. That only makes them want more hostages. What they don't respond to is when they do 140 strikes on our men and women in Syria and Iraq, and we do nothing but just some small shots back. You've got to punch them. You've got to punch them hard and let them know that. That's the only way they're going to respond. So the way you do that is you go after their infrastructure in Syria and Iraq where they're hitting our soldiers. That's what you do. And then that's when they'll back off. The problem is you have to see that all of these are related. If you look at the fact Russia was losing that war with Ukraine, Putin had hit rock bottom. They had raised the draft age to 65. He was getting drones and missiles, drones from Iran, missiles from North Korea. And so what happened? When he hit rock bottom, all of a sudden, his other friend, Iran, Hamas goes and invades Israel and butchers those people on Putin's birthday. There is no one happier right now.
Wow. Seriously.
Wow.
Drawing the lines, connecting the dots. Nikki, the great
Nikki,
hound dog.
the rain woman. I watched the droplets on the pane of glass, and I realized it's Putin's birthday.
And they gave him a gift, but it's a birthday gift.
Jesus
Look, I mean,
Christ. Jesus, Nikki, get a grip, Nikki.
I wouldn't completely dismiss that. Like she could have a point on that having a connection, but Putin's birthday mixed in there as some sort of evidence supporting her point is kind of bullshit.
That's Vidania, comrade.
Nah.
Because all of the attention America had on Ukraine suddenly went to Israel. And that's what they were hoping is going to happen. We need to make sure that we have full clarity that there is a reason, again, that Taiwanese want to help Ukrainians because they know if Ukraine wins, China won't invade Taiwan. There's a reason the Ukrainians want to help Israelis because they know that if Iran wins, Russia wins. These are all connected. But what wins all of that is a strong America, not a weak America. And that's what Joe Biden's given us.
The axis of good versus the axis of evil.
Yeah, that's going to be
We've
Go
heard
ahead.
that one before, a couple of times so far.
couple of times.
I want to say one thing about the tie to Ukraine, if I may. So foreign policy experience is not the same as foreign policy wisdom. I want everybody at home to know that I was the first person to say we need a reasonable peace deal in Ukraine. Now,
Yeah. Pastrami, the first. Simply the first, yeah.
Simply the best.
He wants everyone to know he was the first to cover. That's very Trumpian, very Trumpian.
Yeah. I was the only one. The only one.
I came up with it.
of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine. And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, I mean, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our...
But he's so fucking annoying.
Look at his face. Look at this.
Yeah.
The something is like, fuck, I don't know the areas either. Thank God the question wasn't to me.
Ron is like, thank God he didn't ask me that.
Yeah. This motherfucker looks at maps.
And our military equipment.
He's smiling. Look at her smiling.
Somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then they take...
She's smirking. Look at that.
Experience. It takes an outsider to see this, to look at the blank expression. She doesn't know the names of the provinces that she wants to actually fight for. And there's a couple of names right there. The donors right there that are playing out the pocket.
By the way, this is a very Trumpian line, what he just did, right?
Yeah,
that's exactly what
did.
Trump did. That's all her donors and special interests bring me.
You know, his reasonable peace deal in Ukraine, he made it clear. Give them all the land they've already stolen. Promise Putin you'll never put Ukraine in Russia, and then trust Putin not to have a relationship
He meant NATO, but whatever.
with China. Let me tell you something. That's no
That's not
reasonable.
my deal. That's not my deal.
Yes, it's exactly what you
I'll
said.
describe
You
my
do
deal.
That's
this-
not my deal.
That's my deal, actually.
yeah.
Let me point out the difference. And I like that Chris Christie is actually right on this one. Pastrami
Yeah.
says, yeah, let's do peace immediately. What does peace immediately mean? It means Ukraine ceding whatever Russia has already conquered. So that's basically admitting defeat at this point. Yeah, as you said, it's complicated. Should we go on?
It's a pointless war, Luigi.
Yes, it's exactly what you said.
describe my
You do
deal.
this at every debate.
I'll tell you
You
exactly
say,
what
no,
it is.
don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt.
Don't interrupt the fucking Chris.
You do this at every debate. You go out on the stuff and you say something. All of us see it on video. We confront you on the debate stage. You say you didn't say it, and then you back away. And I want to
I'll tell
say,
you exactly what I said, Chris.
I'm not done yet.
Well, this is...
Now look,
This is...
I'm good. You got one.
You know what we do to guys like you in Jersey?
You disrespect me like that again, cabron.
I feed you to the fishes, pastrami. I can't hear, Luigi. There's no sound.
first 20 minutes as the most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up for a minute.
Can you go a bit back? Because we missed that. The heat.
The fourth debate that you would be voted in the first 20 minutes as the most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up for very long.
Nice.
Blowhard. That sounds like a fish. I'm blowhard.
I want to say something else. We're now 25 minutes into this debate, and he has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence, not her positions, her basic intelligence. She doesn't know regions. She wouldn't be able to find something on a map that his 3-year-olds could find. Look, you want to disagree on issues, that's fine. And Nikki and I disagree on some issues. But I'll tell you this, I've known her for 12 years, which is longer than he's even started to vote in a Republican primary.
Got him. We got him.
And while we disagree about some issues and we disagree about who should be president of the United States, what we don't disagree on is this is a smart, accomplished woman. You should stop insulting
So
her.
I'm going to take this. So first of all, I think we just learned something from Chris Christie. We learned 3 things. We learned 3 things right there. First of all, Chris Christie also doesn't know what provinces in eastern Ukraine he actually wants us to fight for. Chris, your version of foreign policy experience was closing a bridge from New Jersey to New York.
Yeah.
Yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal,
Yeah.
and get
Oof.
Oh my, wow. And went after him for being a fatty, basically.
Eat him, Colonel McNuggets. Eat him. Consume him.
Go eat your chicken nuggets, Chris, and get out of this race. Look, got mixed feelings so far. I think Chris Christie is hitting him hard, but I don't really think this criticism is going to stick because, let's face it, the Republican voters and the viewers of this debate, they want to see blood. They want to see the savagery in a
But
sense.
it's all pointless anyway, because none of them are going to be anything. Because Trump is going to be the fucking primary, the candidate for the Republicans.
I mean, Nikki Haley was UN secretary last time. Pastrami could get some administration positions.
Yeah, but
cabinet.
that's he's the only thing he can get is hat, I'm afraid to say.
Hat.
Do you want to skip to 39?
39.
39.
Done.
A little bit before 39.
Another one. They went
Yeah.
and granted $2 million in subsidies.
I banned
They
China
took-
from buying land in the state of
And the
Florida.
Department of
I
Health-
evicted the Confucius Institute. Nikki Haley brought Confucius Institutes to the universities in South
That
Carolina.
is not-
I ejected them. So I have a record of standing up and do what's right. And here's the
You
thing.
have a record of lying.
She's trying to say things like that. Even the liberal media groups that usually if I say the sky is blue, they'll fact check me and say that's wrong. They looked at her charges. They said it was totally false, that they could not find one instance of me recruiting a Chinese business coming to Florida. You know
Thank you.
why? Because we never recruited
By the
anyone.
way, I wanted to know, look how he uses liberal fact-checking sources. Look at
Yeah,
Ronnie.
yeah.
Look at
Just like
Ronnie.
not even the fact checkers could fact check that one.
Look at that. Snopes said that I was right. Ooh. And then we go to 46. 46.
46. Your wish, my command, my lord.
Apprenticeships. We have more truck drivers. These are in-demand skills. Don't let anybody tell you that the only way you can be successful is through a 4-year brick and Ivy degree. That's one way you can be. It's not the only way. And we're going to fix that problem in the United States of America.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you praised cryptocurrency like Bitcoin as an opt-out from our, quote, broken financial architecture, and you oppose efforts to regulate it. The head of the largest international crypto exchange just pleaded guilty to allowing his platform to launder money for terrorists, including Hamas. You say the
Ooh.
cryptocurrency plan will
Yeah,
Got him.
that subtle minor, including hummus.
Do you like people who like hummus, Mr. Ramaswamy?
Do you like hummus by association?
Are you paid by hummus?
ensure economic freedom for Americans, end quote. Won't it also ensure economic freedom for fraudsters, criminals, and terrorists?
Look, fraudsters, criminals, and terrorists have been defrauding people for a long time.
By the way, Luigi,
Catch up.
I just want to
Yes?
say, focus on this answer. This is a fucking salad, word salad. He says nothing in these answers. The question
As they
was-
usually do. As
the
they
que-
usually
he-
Yeah.
This is particularly egregious because he asked him, "You're against regulating this shit. These guys were funded by hummus. Why are you against regulating it?" And look at this response. Look at this fucking word salad that this buffoon is gonna spew with
criminals
such
and terrorists
arrogance.
have been defrauding people for a long time. Our regulations need to catch up with the current moment.
Wait, dude. Wait, I thought you were anti-regulation. Go on.
What he did at FTX shows that whatever they have as the current framework isn't working. And I think it is nothing short of embarrassing that Gary Gensler, the current leader of the SEC, in front of Congress, could not even say whether Ethereum counted as a regulated security or not. And so I think that this is just another example of the administrative state gone too far.
What? What does he think this is?
Wait. He wanted regulation at the beginning of the answer.
But
And suddenly he's saying that
halfway
the
through
state
the
has...
answer.
Yeah, he's saying the exact opposite.
The exact
to cover
opposite,
all bases.
yeah.
To cover all
Wow.
bases, basically.
Wow.
I'm both for and against regulation. I'm
Look,
for
the problem
common
was
sense
that
regulation, George.
Yeah, the problem was that we didn't regulate it, and the regulator didn't even know what it was. But this is obviously a sign that the regulators are going too far with
Yeah,
regulating.
they've gone way too far.
I
Way too
mean,
far with not regulating.
a genius.
Well, I'm confused. I'm confused.
A genius among us. A genius.
The people who we elect to run the government are not the ones who are even actually running the government. It is the bureaucrats in those three-letter agencies that are writing regulations that Congress never gave them the authority.
What the fuck are you talking about?
And that's why I will get rid of every three-letter organization.
It's gotta be 3 though. If it's 4, it stays.
Yeah, of course. And two counts as well.
A U.S. president can absolutely fix that. That takes a U.S. president with a spine. So what I've said is in my administration, by the end of year 1, we will have a 75% reduction in the number of federal bureaucrats.
This is
we
fucking insane.
75.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, 75% reduction basically means I'm going to cripple the government. This guy is an anarcho-capitalist. Honestly, if
among
I've
other
ever seen one.
things. Yeah. And he's insane. I mean, this is the most fucking insane answer I've heard someone answer in a while. I mean, I've seen a lot of fucking insane people answer questions.
Yeah, I mean, we cover the Republican debates for sport.
I mean, this fucker
we've
was
seen
asked.
Weird shit.
They told him that Sam Bankman-Fried got fucking indicted. And his response was, yeah, we didn't regulate enough and we need to cut regulation. What the fuck? I mean, how fucking low can your IQ be to listen to this shit and be like, yep, that's my guy. It makes sense.
My guy. My guy.
guy.
Common sense Republican, yes.
Very common. So much sense, so common. What the fuck is this?
We will rescind any regulation that fails the test of West Virginia versus EPA, which is the most important Supreme Court case of our lifetime.
So this shit reminds me of Trump saying, we are going to cut 2 regulations for every regulation we put in. That he's been using Trump talking points, basically, from 2016.
He's the ultimate Trump wannabe, I'm going to say.
Yeah. I mean, he has a Trump poster in his room. He probably masturbates to pictures of Trump.
100%. The only one who masturbates more to pictures of Trump is Trump.
It's Trump. It's Trump himself.
Yeah. I mean, at the peak, you got Trump. Yeah. So we go to, I've got a few more.
Yeah.
I mean, 52, and that's it. Because it's a loser's debate, people.
McDonald's. So happy for the ads. Thank you, YouTube, for
Chris is hungry.
And we should not be importing people from cultures that are hostile. So, for example, I said with the Gaza, you had some of the squad wanted to import 300.
With the Gaza.
No, we're not taking anyone from
The Gaza. No one from Gaza. No.
He does this on purpose, right? This like ridiculous speech, right? With the Gaza, with the
like Ron DeSantis is the ultimate populist. He's really good at finding like 5 or 6 buzzwords the military, our
Yeah, he's really good
troops,
at that. By the way, he's really awkward. We have to note that, right? I mean, he's
yeah, of course.
extremely awkward. He couldn't be the president. He's too awkward. Look at his
He,
mannerisms.
he could definitely be the president. I think
You
he
think
would.
so?
Yeah, I think he would also own up to it in a sense. I mean, better than anyone like Bush ever did. But yeah, he's gotta be a good president,
Oh,
obviously.
that's not what I'm arguing, Liz. I'm just arguing that he's too fucking awkward to get elected. People will not warm up to this. He looks like a fucking malfunctioning cyborg.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I mean, he has lots and lots of qualities. Charisma is not among them.
Yeah, charisma is not among them, and I mean it's a severe deficit of it.
He had a debate recently with Gavin Newsom, the governor of California,
Gavin
and
destroyed him, Luigi.
Gavin destroyed him,
and I don't like Gavin, but
me
Gavin
neither.
is.
Me
And I
neither.
mean,
But Gavin is charismatic, though.
yeah,
He's
definitely.
quite
Gavin
charismatic.
destroyed him. I mean,
He has
Gavin.
that Clinton-like charm. That
By the
I'm
way,
a bullshitter, but I say things in a nice way.
if we're gonna get a standard shit Democrat, might as well get Gavin instead of fucking Joe, because
I
Joe
agree.
is half dead. So I mean,
I
come on, Jack.
Come on,
Where,
Jack. We
where
can
am
do
I?
it, Jack.
Where am I? Where am
Where's
I?
my ice cream? Bring me my ice cream. It's Mr. President. It's the winter. I still want my ice cream.
Let me sniff your hair.
Wow.
The anti-Semitism, and because they reject
The anti-Semitism.
about this, we cannot let the United States be like Europe.
Governor Christie.
Oh my
Wow.
God. Oh my
Wow.
God. Don't fucking come, dickhead. You're going
Wow. We can't let the US have decent healthcare or
and
education.
less mass shootings, a happier fucking
Yeah.
standard of living. Yeah, we can't let that happen.
No, we can't let that happen. Sometimes there are Freudian slips, I guess. This being among them.
By the way, red is for communism, dickhead.
or very strong man.
Very strong, very strong.
Is
Have
that it,
some-
or should we listen to Colonel McNuggets as well?
Let's finish up with the colonel, yeah.
Governor Christie asked last night in Iowa whether he would be a dictator if he wins the second term in office. No.
Absolutely. I love the dictators. They're so strong.
I said I'm gonna be a dictator for one day. I'm gonna close the door, and then that's it. That's it. I'm not gonna be a dictator anymore, Sean. And he came up to me, tears running down his eyes, and he said, "Sir, sir,
Sir.
sir, you're the greatest dictator. Even Al Capone, he was great for the criminals. For the criminals, he was great. They indicted him once. Me, I don't even remember how many times they're indicting me."
Wow.
For day one, promising to seal the southern border. He has also pledged to begin the largest deportation operation in American history, saying that migrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country.
Jesus
He has
Christ.
pledged to round up and expel an estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. What do you make of that plan?
I think it's completely predictable. I mean, look, he's made it very clear. There's no mystery to what he wants to do. He started off his campaign by saying, "I am your retribution." 8 years ago, he said, "I am your voice." This is an angry, bitter man who now wants to be back as president because he wants to exact retribution on anyone who has disagreed with him, anyone who has tried to hold him to account for his own conduct. And every one of these policies that he's talking about are about pursuing a plan of retribution. And yet, at the first debate, my three colleagues on this stage, when asked if he would be convicted of federal felonies, would they still support him, raise their hand, looked into the camera, and let everybody know that they would still support him, even if convicted of federal felonies. Federal felonies, by
Shut
the
the
way.
fuck up, pastrami.
Seriously, I mean, yeah, they basically held their hands up, said, fuck the Constitution. I'm gonna
Fuck everything. I'm gonna fucking ride my way with the criminal asshole.
basically what they said.
Federal felonies, which involve our election process, federal felonies, which involve the most sensitive of our governmental secrets, federal felonies where he instructed others to commit crimes, folks who are now agreeing to go to jail because of what they did in his name. So do I think he was kidding when he said he was a dictator? All you have to do is look at the history. And that's why failing to speak out against him, making excuses for him, pretending that somehow he's a victim, empowers him. You want to know why those poll numbers are where they are? Because folks like these three guys on the stage make it seem like his conduct is acceptable. Let me make it clear. His conduct is unacceptable. He's unfit, and be careful of what you're going to get. If you ever got another Donald Trump term, he's letting you know, I am your retribution. He will only be, Elizabeth, he will only be his own retribution. He doesn't care for the American people. It's Donald Trump first.
Thank you, Governor Christie. Governor DeSantis.
I mean, I have to give it to Chris Christie.
Yeah.
Out of the four morons on stage, he's the I don't know,
The
at
least moronic. The least
yeah,
moronic.
the least moronic. I mean, he gives you a sense that, you know,
Definitely. Should we call it to call it a day with this?
call it a productive day.
Very
But, I mean,
productive day.
yeah, the world is still a shithole, George. At the risk of sounding repetitive, it's probably not gonna get that much better immediately.
And the news were very dark this week. Last time we had more fun.
Yeah. We're gonna
Henry
find some-
died.
Yeah, fuck you, Henry. Sayonara, Henry.
But today, yeah, this week, I mean, we didn't do Israel last time. It was always going to get dark with what's happening there. And we had the last loser debate of the year. It's going to be the last one.
Yeah, but we're gonna have several more.
Oh, yeah.
And I really hope that Chris Christie manages to stay on the debate stage. And I suspect that what he's doing with that final Trump, anti-Trump rhetoric is he's trying to get they said Trump has an approval rating of 80% in the Republican Party. For Chris Christie, that basically means there's 20% of the party that he can get by mounting the anti-Trump offensive. So not a bad calculation for someone who's polling at 5%.
Definitely.
All righty, George. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, people.
Yeah.
Gonna be here. We'll always be here, holding your hands into the darkness.
Yeah, bullshitting our way through international developments.
Like we only know how.
Restoring order to the light.
Order to the universe. Balancing the force. The only way we know. By chatting shit and bringing assholes down with the power of our words. Wow.
Through sheer force of will.
Sheer force of will. Exactly. On these brave, optimistic words, let's call this a day, Luigi.
Excellent. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas.
See you guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.